channel news. I'm filming this a little bit closer because I'll be showing you books, the book covers and photos within the books, so I want you to be able to see. All right, so, and it's only going to be one topic. It's going to be bird points. Actual points that were used to shoot birds. And in some of these books, they're called bird bolts instead of bird arrows. Okay? So I got a bunch of books laid out. The first picture I'm going to show you, now I didn't plan this out or anything except for this first picture. I'm going to do everything else at random. The way it's pictured in this book is shooting the bow into the air, presumably to shoot the bird in flight. Okay? Got a good view of that? Hopefully. That is on page 20 of this book here, Bows, Arrows, and Quivers of the American Frontier. Now, I think this one is out of print. It's John Baldwin. It might be out of print. I bought it many years ago. But anyway, hopefully you can see that. The caption says, this is an old photograph of Chief Crow, then 70 years old, was taken prior to 1930. Chief Crow is shooting the 66-inch woodland bow, also pictured in 25-4. This is the close-up of the end of it right there. I think that's it right there. So this bow is 66 inches long, okay? His arrows are very long bird bolts, typical to the Eastern style. Chief Crow belonged to the Seneca Turtle Clan at Cattaraugus, New York. Hopefully I pronounced that okay. His Seneca name was Segway. He is wearing a Seneca necklace adorned with large snapping turtle claws or paws. Okay, so that's the first one. So I've searched the entire internet almost, trying to find demonstrations of Native Americans shooting these bird arrows or bird bolts or bird points. That's the only photograph I've got. Now there's another photograph in this book, by coincidence, of an Indian holding a bird arrow next to the bow that he used to shoot the bird arrow with. These photos are very rare. You don't find them anywhere else. I didn't find them on the internet. Well, this photograph might be on the internet, but you can see the height of the bow comes up to about a shoulder, and that bird arrow has a blunt with a sharp point, very similar to this one right there. These are all what they call bird bolts on this page. See how they're carved? And there are various tips. Now these are carved out of solid pieces. Most of these, as far as I know, are made from hickory. Okay, they're not inserts like I've got, but I'm sure that they made some inserts like this because I've seen them made from antler in South America. North America, they might have just carved the entire arrow from a large split, right? Split the hickory and then you carve arrows out of it. I've done that too, and I was looking for my arrow that I did that with, and I can't find it. But the shorter process, I think, is just to make the insert. Now, there are two ways to make the insert. You can make it with a tang or a hole in it. And it's really not an insert. It goes over the top of the shaft. But the ones that I've seen that have a hole in the blunt that goes over the top of the shaft are the Inuit types. So further south into the middle of the continent of North America, you find the type that are inserted into a shaft like this, or just solid, cut from a solid piece of wood. Okay, now what I'm talking about is this here. See these? Let's see if I can get this to show. These three here are Inuit types. And these have holes. The blunts have holes in them for the shaft to go in. See that? They're drilled out. The blunt is drilled out and the shaft is put in. These three are Inuit types. These two are North American Indian types, carved from single pieces of wood. And you can see that's a bird point right there. I mean, they're all supposedly bird bolts. It says right here. Right here, the caption on top. Bird bolts from various areas. Okay. This one that's pointy is Shoshone. This next one is Indians of Devil's Lake. Devil's Lake for this one, Shoshone for that one, and these other ones are Inuit or Eskimo. Yeah, Alaska, Lawrence Islands, Pastolic, Eskimos of Pastolic. I don't know. Anyway, so this is an interesting book on many levels, but it shows you the variation in the bird bolts or bird arrows. I don't think there's other pictures of bird arrows in here. Yeah, we're just going to go over bird points and bird arrows. I think that's it for this. Oh, there's more coming. Yeah. I just did a video showing these points here. Okay. Now this one here, I looked this one up. I mean, I watched the videos. There's a couple of videos on skipping arrows. Sean Woods does one where he wraps about 1 inch down from the tip. Okay. And it did skip. This will still work as a bird point with this wrap further down, but I don't know if I don't think this will skip. I think you probably need to have the wrap or this bulb. You can carve the bulb out of wood. You know, you can get a thick piece of wood and carve it down so it leaves a bulb right here. I think the bulb needs to be closer to the tip, okay? Not back here. But this will still work as a blunt that won't penetrate very far if you leave the bulb here or anywhere along the shaft. But it won't skip. So correction to the previous video showing this as a skipping arrow, it's not correct. The skipping arrow has this bulb or this wrap closer to the tip. Okay, so I'll be experimenting with those too since we got plenty of water around here. Okay, and just in case you missed the previous video, I used this Phragmites reed shaft for all these points. And no, I didn't add any more sinew. I didn't have, well, I do have time, but by the time I finish all these little persnickety things, it'll be dark. It took me long enough to get all these books together. I got a bunch of books. So I should wrap more sinew on this, okay, to make a bigger bulb. But this will work as well. It'll stop. It won't penetrate very far. Now, what about when you wrap it near the tip with a bulb? Does that mean it won't penetrate very far? Yeah, it means it won't penetrate all that far. It's mainly for shock. Okay? As far as I know. Now, I can try shooting a chicken carcass, like just buy a whole chicken at the supermarket and shoot an arrow at it, see if this penetrates even though there's a bulbous wrap or a wood bulb area on the shaft. It might still penetrate really well. I can probably try that because there's no risk of me eating a stone chip if it's just all wood and sinew that's hitting the chicken carcass. All right. Now, I didn't make this, but I wrapped this on video. I made it off camera as far as the components go, but I wrapped it on camera. And hold on. And this is not a bird point. Okay, I think this is a war point because it's a relatively large arrowhead compared to the regular, or what I would consider a regular size point for an arrow. See how much bigger it is? Most arrowheads are small. True arrow points, most of them are pretty small. This is on the small side, okay? So in between these two is what the regular size or the average size for an arrowhead. These large ones, I believe, were used for warfare. These long, narrow ones, and delicately made, very thin. They could snap across the neck easily, and they've got very, very sharp barbs. I think these are warfare types. Okay, that was just a side note. All right, the next set of pictures I'm going to show you, or pages, this is, let's see, what is this book? Encyclopedia of Native American Bows, Arrows, and Quivers, Volume 1. I took the sleeve off the top of it. This is Volume 1. Okay, the sleeve looks totally different. The paper, the cover that goes over it. And I think it's only a paperback now. You can't get the hardcover anymore. I got the paperback in Volume 2 because mine is messed up. I'll be showing, let's see, I'll be showing a couple from there too. But anyway, on this page, page 59, there's Iroquois bird arrows right here and right there. Or that can be used for small game as well. Okay, and these are more elaborate because they're fancy. See how they're carved with these ribs or these little flutes here, and this is carved with facets. I said ribs, but that's not right. Ridges, they're carved with ridges. And there's some more tips of blunt arrows, various blunts. This big one's probably used for birds, but you get the idea. There's variations in the blunt category. This one is Ojibwa, 120, page 127. See how pointy that is at the tip? Some, there's some are flatter, some are more pointy. I guess it depends on what you're shooting. This is Ojibwa also. See that? And no fletch. Yeah, for some reason they didn't put fletching on those. It's probably because the tip is so heavy that the back end causes enough drag to keep it straight. Here's another one. It's a bird point or a small game point. Okay? Fancy. Another one right there. These are actual size. All right, compared to my hand, compared to my blunt, mine is 300 and some odd grains, remember? And it's Osage. This is hickory, probably. So they're heavier than mine. I don't doubt that they're heavier, just like 400 grains just for the head on this one. So it gives you an idea how heavy they are. Okay, and that's only 31 inches. 31 for this one and 30 for that one. But the other ones were like 20 some odd inches. Like these right here. This one's 23 inches. The one over here is 26. This is 25. So these are short. Split hickory. These are all split hickory on this page here. Okay, so this is a good book, Volume 1, if you want to look at bird arrows. And they've also classified them as small game arrows. Okay? Now, if you make full-size replicas of those out of hickory, they're going to be pretty heavy. So you're going to need a hefty bow, probably. Let's see, what else? Let me put these aside as I'm using them. Right? I don't want to get them mixed up and duplicate what I'm showing. This one here is going to be similar to the one in here I'm going to show you. All right, this is Native American Bows, Arrows, and Quivers, Volume 2. Volume 2, right? Is that what it says? Yeah. Okay, and on page 88, it's this one here that I'm looking at to copy. See how close this wrapping is, or these things are to the tip of the shaft, and it has a long point. Now my point is much longer. If I wanted to do an exact replica, I would have to cut mine down. Okay, this is actual size. Okay, mine is a little bit bigger. Yeah, so it's not an exact reproduction. It just gives you an idea. Okay, so that was Navajo. I said it was Apache, right? No, this is a Navajo. Okay, Navajo. And it's inserted into reed, Phragmites reed. Right? Phragmites reed shaft, buzzard tail fletch, wire lashed to hardwood foreshaft for small game point. Yeah, it is wire. Okay. Is there any other bird points or bird bolts or bird arrows in here? Yeah, there's one right there. See, this one has the wrap up near, closer to the tip. And this is still, mine still is not the same size, right? This one is Apache. Yeah. Sorry, I'm struggling to show you, but this one is Apache. Just trust me. I suppose I can just say, just trust me, it's Apache. I'll just read it to you so I don't have to keep showing you every single time. 4 crossed sticks secured with sinew, a bird or small game point. So these are actually sticks. Okay, sticks like mine. Amazing, huh? No? Yeah, it's not too amazing. Okay, so that gives you an idea. I think that's it in this book. I'm just skimming now. I don't remember seeing any other ones except for those two that are considered small game points or bird points. Okay. What else? I was going to read you something from this book, Hunting with the Bow and Arrow by Saxton Pope. It's about Ishi and what he used for small game. Okay. It says here on page 17, right there, I'm going to start reading right here. 2 kinds of points. 2 kinds of points were used on Ishi's arrows. One was the simple blunt end of the shaft bound with sinew, used for killing small game and practice shots. The other was his hunting head, made of flint or obsidian. He preferred the latter. Okay? So, just a simple blunt end. I carved a blunt insert, but you can just make a solid shaft with just the blunt end wrapped with sinew, which makes sense. That way, when you hit something that's not a bird, it doesn't split. So if I were to use this as a blunt, it'd probably be best to wrap the end with sinew, just like I wrapped the end of the reed here. Well, this is not the one I was using yesterday. That's a reproduction. This is the one I was using yesterday. So I got it wrapped with sinew here so it won't split, and I should wrap the end maybe 3/4 of an inch. Okay, that's what Ishi would use, a wrapped end on his arrow as a blunt. It didn't use anything sharp like this, I guess. Okay, that's in this book. I'm going to be quoting from this book in the future quite a bit. Okay, and other stuff that was written by Saxton Pope. Just a heads up for future reference. Okay. All right, this is my messed up bows and arrows and quivers. See, these two are the same book, but I messed up my hardcover. This is the same book, volume 2. This is the old hardcover version that I messed up. Okay. This one here is another book that I've got on arrows. North American Bows, Arrows, and Quivers, an Illustrated History by Otis Tufton Mason, forward by Steve Aleli. And there's various illustrations that are also in this book that I showed in the beginning. There's duplication of illustrations. Okay? So you look through here and you can find bird points. See if I can find one relatively quickly. If not, just consider it a moment of silence for everyone that is leaving. We'll have a little moment of silence for all of you that decide to leave. Okay? Ah, I found one, but this is from Alaska. See, this one, if the sun will let us, this is from Alaska, but it's a blunt. What does the caption say? It's on page, the thing about this book, it doesn't have page numbers, so I can't tell you. I can have to figure it out from where it does have a page number. And there's no page numbers hardly anywhere. Okay, so that one is number 3, all in one piece, which widens out to a large cone to form a head slightly expanded at the knock. So it has a slightly expansion at the knock. The notch is formed by cutting off the end of the arrow into an expanding wedge, yada, yada, yada. Painted brown, yada, yada. Sitka, Alaska. Length 38 inches. So that's a long arrow. It doesn't say if it's a bird point or a bird arrow. Where else? It's got to be more than that. Well, there is some further ahead, but they're all Inuit. I'm looking mainly for the lower North American continent. The lower half of the North American continent. Yeah. Okay? All right. So, yeah, this has got a lot of good Eskimo and Inuit stuff. Ah, this one does have some, see, this one actually says bird bolts. See all these bird bolts? But these are all Eskimo. Right? Right. Yeah, the first one here, number 1, this one says, shaft of wood at the head of bone or ivory or antler is set on like the head of a cane and rounded. What? To me, it looks split. They split the shaft, inserted this piece of antler bone or whatever with a wedge tang and just bound it together. This one also looks split. The shaft looks split and they just wedged this in there and tied it off. Wrapped it down. Yeah. The other ones, I don't know. And there's only 2 feathers on most of these. Okay, yeah, it does say, for number 1, it says, in one of the examples, the end of the shaft is split and the head is held in by a wedge-shaped dowel, bird arrow, length about 21 inches. Okay, so that's what it is. It looks like it's wedged in, and it is. Okay. What else? And there's bows back here, but I'm not going to show you. This is bird points, okay? All right. This book also contains some arrow foreshafts. but they're not bird points, but they're interesting anyway. Okay, this is actual artifacts. Okay, let me give you the book name. Stone Age Spear and Arrow Points of the Southwestern United States. This one is also out of print, but you might be able to get a Kindle copy or a paperback, something like the hardcover. I can't get them anymore. Like I said, I bought these many years ago. See how these all have tangs and shoulders. Even this one and that one. See, and they have stone for tips. See how small these stone tips are? But these are not for birds. Yeah. People call these bird points, but it's the opposite. They're not for birds. Okay? I've been showing you what arrowhead types are for birds. You know, stuff like this, stuff like this, stuff like that. Okay? These are all from the Southwest. Selected arrow foreshafts and proximal ends with painted designs from Mule Creek Cave, Catron County, New Mexico. Stone points are comparable to those in the Pueblo side-notched culture. Renditions based on Cosgrove, reduced in scale. So these are not actual size, okay? That's the only picture or illustration I'm going to show from this book. Yeah. One of the reasons why I bought this book back in the day was because precisely for that illustration, okay? And I have yet to research Cosgrove and find where that is, where that publication is. I'll find it eventually. All right, what else we got? Am I completely spastic and chaotic? Oh, this is not related to bird points. This is a side note, okay? We're going to change the subject a little bit. I found this interesting, right? Now, this book here is Hopewellian Communities in Illinois. Scientific Papers, Volume 5, Illinois State Museum. It's probably another out of print thing. But anyway, I want to show you, this is related to flint knapping. See these? This is getting ruined too because I use it a lot. See these two right there? I think that is letter J. Right? Letter J. What's important about those? Well, they look like billets, right? But what do they call them in these publications? J is antler drifters. It reminds me of the movie High Plains Drifter. They call these things, instead of billets, they call them drifts. Or instead of punches or whatever for flint knapping, they call them drifts or drifters. Page 162, right? That's page 162. Yeah. Anyway, if you have a Kindle book of this or whatever, or you're looking through publications and you have a search option, don't look for billet in all cases. You can look for billet, yeah. You can look for punch and that kind of thing, but look for the word drift or drifters or drifter. Okay? You'll see flint knapping tools under that classification. That's just FYI. It was a change of subject, a pause for station identification. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. All right. What do we got? We got Traditional Bowyer's Bible, Volume 4, the best volume, I think. No, it's not the best one. It just has a lot of good information on Ishi's stuff. Who's Ishi? Get yourself educated and come back. All right. This shows Ishi's arrows up close and personal. Okay, these are from before he entered civilization. When I do these little marks, that means I've made a reproduction of these. But I've sold them off since then. But see how these are very long and narrow? And the notching is extremely delicate on these. to try to get that same effect on, these are made of glass, requires intense patience. Yeah. Now, I'm looking to see if there is a bird point. I think there is one in here, okay? Just so we can be clear. This is a blunt that he made. I don't know if this is a bird point, but see, he used, what did he use? A bullet casing? Brass tubing, right? That could be a shell casing. Let me check. That one is, what is it? ABC? It's B. Commercial 5/16 birch dowel, hawk feather fletch, glued down. Brass tubing, field point, crimped over and glued to shaft. All right. I still don't know if that's going to be, if that's a shell casing. It could be. You know, you could saw the end off. Let's see. Pope described how Ishii made these. After some experience in shooting at targets, Ishii devised a substitute for the regular target arrow pile or head. He made blunt points from thin brass tubing or steel umbrella sticks cut to 1 inch lengths. He filed these with deep transverse. He filed these with deep transverse notches across one end and pounded this portion into a blunt conical shape. These heads he set on his shafts with glue. So that's how he made the blunts when he was within civilization. Okay, brass tubing. Ah, here we go. I knew there was one. See that? Bird point. Let me see what it says, see if I'm right. That's letter A. Yeah. This is a bird arrow with a tic-tac-toe style lattice work for stunning birds. It says it right there in bold black and white, all shaky. See that? That's the bird point. Now he put this lattice work up near the tip. Yeah, so he must have been hitting them in the noggin. Let's see. The cross pieces are made from sawn strips of translucent greenish-gray horn. Where do you get translucent greenish-gray horn? Possibly cow horn, and are lashed with sinew. Ah, so he's smarter than I am. He used horn. Horn's pretty tough. Yeah. Antler, the same thing. Yep, you can cut strips of antler. Anyways, what else we got in here? What page was that on? 281. Some people need the page numbers because they say, I looked through the whole book, I didn't see it. I spent all my savings on it, and I still can't. I've been looking through it 50 times. What page? So, yeah. Some people have an uncanny ability to not be able to find the page by just skimming through. I know. I do that funny voice because I have experience with kids that will say stuff like that. Okay? All right. Not making fun of anybody. But if the shoe fits. All right, so we have arrows in here from around the world, but I don't know if it has the bird points. See, it says there's a chapter called Arrows. Arrows of the World. Okay, so let me look to see. They got whistling arrows in here. They got arrows from Japan and from Asia. Chinese bronze arrows, heads. I'm not going to show you any of that because those are not bird points. Where are the ones for birds? Ah, here's some. Hey, right there. See that? And these are carved blunts. Oh, now that one's kind of pointy. And there's bird arrows right there. See that? You can get more information on there. And this is a reprint of a bird arrow. Apache. Yep, we got that one right. From the other book, from the volume 2, Native American bows, arrows, and quivers. Encyclopedia of volume 2. Okay. Are you sick of bird points yet? Yes? You're gonna get even sicker. There's some more. See these? That shows the full size. Northeastern Passamaquoddy Indian arrows are here, and this one is the Iroquois. There. Arrows of split hickory. Both of them. Peabody Museum for the top ones, and New York State Museum for that one. Split timber shafting. Once man learned to fashion metal, particularly into cutting instruments and edge tools, true mass production of arrow shafts was possible. Saws, wedges, and planes allowed the use of split or sawn timber to be made into arrow shafting. So these were probably made after the introduction of metal knives and saws and stuff to the Native Americans. But you can do the same thing with stone tools. Let's see, what else? Some might say, well, you need to make these solid and not inserts. Okay, I'll make them solid so that I can show you exactly. I'll make some arrows like that. They're solid wood. Okay, so there's another one. The stack's getting higher. Now, what else do I have? Get some. These things are falling out of my books. Okay. Got notes on the Ishi's Arrowhead. This is actual size for the grizzly bear's hiding place arrows. These really delicate ones made of glass. That's useful. Let me put that away somewhere where I can see it. In this, I've got a notebook where I have a bunch of sheet protectors, and in the sheet protectors, I got notes on arrows that I've made and that I will make. I got drawings, technical drawings of all kinds of stuffs that I've made and will make. And I got references to where I get the information. The sun's not going to let me show it. But I write copious notes on a lot of these arrows before I make them and then after I make them as well. Sometimes, well, maybe not sometimes, all the time they don't show or tell you what the spine weight or the flexibility of the arrow is. So I try to get it as close as possible to the original as far as the diameter of the shafts, and then I spine them after I finish to get a spine weight. To see, you know, get an idea of how powerful the bows were that they were using. This one here, let's see if I put the spine weight on this one. I don't think I didn't reproduce that one. Which ones did I reproduce on some of these? I know which ones I reproduced when I have the spine weight on them. Did I write the spine weight on some of these? This is a reproduction. I usually write the spine weight on them, but I didn't on this one. Oh, I think I didn't, or I removed the weights because I didn't want to mark them up or something. I don't know why I don't have that. Anyways, just to let you know, as far as I remember, the spine weights on those range from 35 to 50 pounds, with the average of about 40 pounds. It's on the low side of the spine weight on the reproduction arrows made of Phragmites reed, okay? It's around the 40-pound mark for the ones that I've reproduced. Now, some of the Apache ones that I've reproduced are higher. They're like 55, 60 pounds on some of them. assuming that their Phragmites had the same wall thickness as mine. Okay, that's a big assumption, but it might be possible that they're exactly the same wall thickness. This one here that I came up with, or that I grabbed the other day from my video yesterday, is 38-pound spine at 26 inches. Okay? And it matches pretty well with the full-size illustrations in these books. You want to see? You go, yeah, right. I don't believe it. You got to show me that it's the same diameter. See that? Phragmites reed. Yep. And the knock is just a simple cut into the reed with wrapping, sinew wrapping. But look at the diameter. All right. And mine is 38 pounds. And the nodes are similar in distance from each other. See how that works? So I know I got the right things. And I just picked one out random. No, you picked one that you knew it worked. I know. You're going to have a complaint no matter what. But these are the top end. Let's see if I can do this. The sun is not going to cooperate. No. But you see, mine is actually even a larger diameter than these. But to be fair, these are usually split. These are usually split and then compressed down. Okay, instead of widening the void, instead of widening the void, they pick voids that are larger than the foreshaft, and then they split and crimp it down with the wrapping. You know, they stick the foreshaft already made in there, crimp it down and to the right size. Instead of using a stone drill to make them all the same, you can also start with a larger void, split it, and then crimp it down with wrapping, or, you know, reduce the diameter with wrapping. That's the other option. All right, what else? What are the good stuff that I can show you from my notes? I've got photographs in here too that I save. All right. I copied them off the internet, okay? Arrowheads. I think these are actual size, but they might be smaller than normal. Smaller than actual size. Yeah. And then I've got some of these Snaketown cluster, Hohokam style. And I got pictures of these. Yeah, we've seen these. These are from the Dana Harper collection. Yeah. I put this thing together about 10 years ago. And I've got pictures from North American Ethnographic Collection from the Museum of Natural History. No. I can't remember the name of it. And I didn't write it down. Anyways, I copied some photographs out of the museum collection, online collection, so I can scale these and measure these, because they get the length here 78 centimeters. These are all in centimeters. So the length is 78 centimeters. So from that length, from the photograph, I can scale all the components. I wish I could remember the name of the museum. It's a museum of natural history of some sort. Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's just I just got personal notes and photographs of various artifacts. Okay, so I keep notebooks of this stuff. I got another one here. This is reed arrows. And yeah, I've reproduced several types of reed arrows to show some of the shaftments with the paint and the nocks. Close-ups. Projectile point analysis of the American Southwest, Todd W. Bostwick. Volume 4, number 2, spring 2017. I write down the references of where I get them from so I can look them back up on the internet, right? Yeah, I think I can do it. Look these up if they're still up on the internet. Okay, so things like that. Here's a illustration of some of the bird point types. This one, and then this is a buff bison horn, I think, on the tip of an arrow. And I don't know what that one is. Let's see, 18 and 19. 18. This one is this wooden one here is 18, and there's 19 in here for these three, I guess. Let's see. Number 18 is L31. Gosh, I can't read this. 11. I don't even see 11. Where is 19? Okay, 19 is 3 arrows, length 21 to 23. Collected in Montana. Bird bolts, 2 with wood and 1 with buffalo horn points. They got these numbers in the wrong place. 18 is 1 arrow, bird bolt, length 29 inches, Great Lakes, ash shaft. Okay, so yeah, number 18 is that one. It's ash, and these 3 have, 2 of them have bison horn points, and 1 is wood. Yeah, and they're all bird bolts, these last 4 right there. Bird points. Okay, there you go. I got through it. One more thing. How much do these weigh? Like, how much would that weigh? Let me see. You'll have to trust me on this one because I'm not going to show you. Because there's no room to show you. So this one here, 138 grains. 138. This one here, 191 grains. This one here, 205 grains. This one here, 136 grains. Okay? So they're in line with the weights that we use nowadays, 100 and some odd grains. When you combine the foreshaft and the stone, or when you consider the entire thing, these are comparable in weights to the Arrowhead weights that we use these days. Okay, so it's pretty much the same technology. When you understand that arrow points have, in many cases, a foreshaft, okay, and it's not part of the arrow shaft. It's a composite arrow. Many of these arrows are composite or built up of parts. So when you're thinking about what weight they used to have back in the day, you don't just measure the stone. You have, or you don't just weigh the stone by itself. You weigh the foreshaft also. That is the arrowhead, not just the stone part, or not just uh, a measurement of a certain part of the arrow. Like, let's say it was made of solid wood. You would say, okay, with the tip, let's just arbitrarily say it's the last 4 inches and then weigh that. No. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah. Onward and upward to the next video. Okay, there you go.